Chancellor, I now invite you, by the authority vested in you by the Senate and the Council of the University of the West Indies, to add to this list of honours by conferring on Mr. James Da Costa Husbands, GCM, this pioneer of renewable energy, this shining exemplar of world-beating indigenous research and manufacture, this exceptional son of the soil, whose career has so spectacularly harnessed the power of both the sun and the soil, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Thank you.
Mr. James Husbands, by the authority vested in me by the Senate and Council of the University of the West Indies, I have pleasure in conferring on you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, of our University of the West Indies. My sincere congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I will now invite Mr. Husbands to address the company.
Your Excellency, Sir Elliot Belgrave, Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir George Alleyne and Lady Alleyne, Vice-Chancellor, Professor E. Nigel Harris, and Dr. Yvette Williams, members of Cabinet, Mr. Paul Altman, Chairman of the Campus Council, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Principal of the Cayfield Campus, and Lady Beckles, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of Mona, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Open Campus, other distinguished members of the Platform Party, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Standing with you in the light of this moment, I feel privileged to bask in the brilliance of some of the Caribbean's and indeed the world's most illustrious minds. I am humbled that this distinguished university would find me worthy to inhabit these ceremonial robes as a recipient of your honorary doctorate, and I am deeply honored and distinctly grateful for the opportunity to stand at this podium where oratory greats and intellectual luminaries have graced the keynotes of the University of the West Indies with the most eloquent, edified addresses. Thank you. But I may warn you, Sir George and Sir Hilary, that by no means would I make the grade as an orator or intellectual luminary in this esteemed company. For the entree afforded me to the corridors of this noble institution, I can only surmise that it's through the divine favor of God and the conspiracy of human faith that I stand here to share this moment with you, with all of you. And ladies and gentlemen, my address today may probably not strike the accustomed chord of keynotes at the University of the West Indies because, you see, my degrees were earned at ULE, the University of Life Experience. The School of Hard Knocks is a faculty that has and continues to sanction my credentials. And my distinctions are in the areas of tenacity and audacity as a student of the politics of business in the socio-cultural context of Barbados and the Caribbean. I speak today not from the learned tongue of a traditionally educated, but from the heart of a business soldier. A soldier who has learned some of life's greatest lessons in the trenches of business. I suppose in some way, one may consider this presentation to be my dissertation. In which case, students of the science of management may argue, and convincingly so, that it is not the product of careful research, supported by scientific data. Ladies and gentlemen, mine is a living thesis, and I thank you for inviting me to be here, standing in this moment. And in this moment, I take pause. I take pause to refresh my spirit. I take pause to remind myself and you, dear graduates, that anything is possible. For when I measure the ordinary beginnings of a country boy with a St. Martin's Boys' School, Princess Margaret, and Christchurch High School education, against the extraordinary voices that have echoed across campuses of this educated institution over the last 64 years, I am reminded of the promise made to all of us that if we believe, all things will be made possible. And I do believe. Back in 1972, when I started Husbands Marketing, later renamed Buildec, and in 1973, when I joined the fledgling Solar Dynamics at the invitation of the now retired Archbishop, His Grace Drexel Gomez and Canon Andrew Hatch, very few would have believed that Solar Dynamics would become a household name. Back then, we stood on the shoulders of the early pioneers, Arthur Coppin, Anthony Hode, and Professor Tom Lewan. Andrew Hatch would rekindle the dormant idea of a solar water heater and built the low-cost solar water heater designed by Tom Lewan. With the help of a great team, especially Ivan Franklin, whose unmatched technical competence and dedication knew no bounds over the last 39 years, we seized the opportunity to extend the comfort and convenience of hot water to our people, our nation, and to our region. Given the culture of Barbadian business in 1973, I would have been considered a most unlikely candidate to lead this new endeavor. Indeed, when I turned down an invitation to sell imported Australian solar heart heaters, the Barbadian importer at the time wrote me the following day, labeling me a belligerent young man. With the dice cast against me, I entered the Barbados game of business anyway. I entered because I believed. I believed that it was possible to turn an idea into an industry. We turned that industry into an ideology that now energizes our region and engages the world. We lived by one of Albert Einstein's greatest sayings: there's a way to do it better. Find it. And in times of threat, we were reinforced by Martin Luther King's assertion that courage faces fear and thereby conquers it. I wish to thank the thousands of customers, well-wishers, and suppliers who have believed in us and trusted us. Others have followed Solar Dynamics into the industry and have added to our efforts. Today, according to the Climate Institute, Barbados is the 5th leading nation in the world in the penetration of solar water heaters per 1,000 population. Consumers have saved a cumulative $1 billion, up from the $260 million in 2002 when USAID did its research. Barbados, and indeed the wider Caribbean, now has the opportunity to build on the work which we have started and sustained, to be leading developers and users of a wide array of renewable energy technologies. But we need to accelerate our efforts. To do that, we need the active engagement of all of you graduates and the University of the West Indies. Like you, Sir Hilary, I dream of the University of the West Indies utilizing renewable energy for most of its energy needs on a daily basis. And I dream of an agricultural industry made sustainable through the reduction in miles our food has to travel to reach our plates in our homes and in our hotels. I long for the day when the taste of Barbados black belly lamb, with the highest reproductive rate in the world, is at least 50% as popular as the phones in our hands. I long for the day when Barbados grows, processes, and sells Bajan cherry, the most potent vitamin C source, to pharmacies across the globe. I long for the day when we process, package, and sell breadfruit and sweet potato in many forms to capitalize on their renowned health benefits, and when Barbados Sea Island cotton, with the softest feel and the strongest yarn, is established internationally as the preferred fabric for those who aspire to have. These are all world-class opportunities sitting on our doorstep. Sitting on our doorstep. Graduands, we are made of the stuff that makes these things happen. These are the heights which we can all achieve. Why? The fact that we've achieved sustainability in the solar water heating industry means that we can achieve lofty goals in other industries. The value of the solar dynamics story must be to inspire all of us to believe that we can achieve. It can be achieved through the widespread harnessing and leveraging of our many and varied talents: scientists, architects, researchers, accountants, lawyers, chemical and mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, leaders and managers from among the UWI's graduating class of 2012, together with those who preceded you and those who will come after you, are the capital investment of trained human resources the Caribbean needs to catapult our region into more world-class leadership and implementation. My vision for Barbados is to have the most widely held and most efficient renewable energy company, with every household becoming a shareholder in such an enterprise. That, with an investment of $500 to $5,000 per household per year over a 5-year period, that Caribbean Renewable would be energized to develop and commission an array of bold and innovative technologies to satisfy our growing energy demand. The graduates of 2012 can make this happen, while making the long-held notion that we, as a people, cannot work together a myth. Anything is possible. I want to share with you some of the lessons I have learned in business. The most valuable skill of a leader is the ability to do the 3-step. Now, many of you would know the 3-step dance, but there's another 3-step I'm talking about. Secondly, the strongest currency we trade in the world is not money, but ideas. And the most important asset we bring to any opportunity is our mental model.